Welcome to MMO Grinder's Sidequest, where I take a look at closed beta and trial subscription games, giving you a quick first impression. Today I'll be looking at Guild Wars 2, which recently just underwent its final beta weekend before its scheduled launch in August. This is a very pretty game with very nice character models and environments, with textures that seem to mirror the living painting quality of the cutscenes and artwork throughout the game. Music is pretty standard to what I'd heard in the Guild Wars series, fitting well as a mood setter but never being entirely intrusive or getting in the way. The game, just like the original, features a lot of voice work, which works well to tell the story or add to the intensity, as NPCs will shout for your aid and your character will even announce when they've received buffs or debuffs, giving you an extra layer of the game beyond keeping an eye on your icons. I like the character creator, which is a bit deeper than I expected it to be, allowing for facial tweaks, choosing different physiques, or even allowing you to customize the color of your armor sets, and that every armor piece you obtain will follow that exact same color scheme, which is a very nice touch. The dye system from the first game is completely revamped, allowing you to change your costume colors on the fly, and unlock more colors for your palette in the game through random drops. You're given the option to choose from 5 races, up from the first game's 1. You can choose from the Char, horned cat-like people which are among the main enemies of the first game, the Humans, the Norn, which are basically large humans with a Viking influence, the Azurans, small arrogant creatures obsessed with magic and technology, and the Sylvari, plant people with an obvious affinity for nature. From there, you're given even more choices in the classes, and that each play quite differently from the last, as well as choices involving your character's personal story. In an amazing sense of replayability, these choices directly affect the story quests that you'll partake in, being vastly different if you choose to have your human come from a background of nobility, common folk, or the poor. Much unlike the original Guild Wars 2 has an entirely open world where you can encounter other players freely, instead of the glorified lobby system of the original game's towns. Also gone from the original game is the pathing system, as the game allows for and encourages full exploration with a bit of platforming. The best example of this is the Vista Point system, where you can find points around the map where the graphic designers take the time to show off their handiwork and grant you long sweeping shots of certain landmarks. You gain experience for finding these, and some are trickier to get to than others, requiring a bit of platforming. And let me just say this, I am so glad to see platforming in a Guild Wars title. Not saying that there's a reliance on it, but the fact that you can do it is what I appreciate. For those of you that never played the original Guild Wars, let's just say being able to take an alternate path rather than being forced to walk all the way around the map just because a knee-high fence or slight downward slope is in the way is a much welcome change. Many people really tote the way this game handles a tired and true formula of the quest system. Rest assured, this game has quests, but they don't work in quite the same way. There are a few types of quests, but the main ones are known as renown hearts. When you move to a spot on your map that's marked with a heart, you'll automatically begin that quest, and you'll have a few basic tasks to perform, like killing invading beasts, disarming traps, or collecting items to bring to an NPC. You can perform any or all of these tasks, and with each task you gain a bit of progress on an overall bar. When that bar is full, you gain bonus experience, karma, and cash, and that renown heart becomes a vendor that you can purchase items at with your karma points. These can only be done once, it seems. The second and more interesting of the two is the dynamic events, where quests will literally show up on the map, or on occasion will come to you, in the form of an NPC that needs help. These range from escorting passing caravans, dousing fires in a field, or what have you. Event quests do seem to be repeatable, and you are given an experience and karma cash bonus depending on how much you participated in the event. What's really nice about all this is that you can't kill-steal anyone or get kill-stealed yourself. If you so much as get a few good shots off on an enemy someone else is attacking, you also get credit for it, and even get your own loot table, so there's no real need to party with others when you're out on your own. If a bunch of people are working on a quest you want to do, just join in and you'll get your cut. The last type of quest, and the one that follows your character's story, is all done individually, with instance areas and cutscenes. While I really enjoy these, I do have one problem with their flow. The gaps in level requirement are massive on occasion, and you only get part of the story with each one, rather than being a single well-placed incident. It's hard to believe that there's any real urgency in stopping an arson plot when you can seriously wait as long as you want to do it. This means you'll have to spend time in between story quests leveling up to the appropriate level to take on the next step. One good way to do this is to visit the newbie areas of the other races and go through all their renown heart quests, which brings about an interesting mechanic. When you enter a lower level area, your level scales down with it, so you can't pump yourself up to level 18 or higher and plow through all the newbie quests with no effort. Sure, your better weapons and armor will help you, but it's merely an advantage and doesn't render you undefeatable. The combat and skill system is handled in a neat way as well. You have a very limited set of skills, specifically 5 attack skills at a time. What makes this interesting is that your skills vary greatly depending on what weapon you have equipped. You even have a different set of weapons and skills for underwater combat. In the case of the Elementalist, this goes further by having your skills change properties depending on which school of magic you have equipped, and you can change these on the fly, bringing a serious versatility to your characters. You start with only your auto attack and gain more skills as you use the weapon set. Otherwise, combat is still pretty standard, involving targeting and auto-attacking enemies and throwing skills into the mix. The ground is littered with environmental weapons on occasion and can grant you an edge if used properly. Death is handled completely different from most MMOs as well, giving you a chance to defeat the enemy before you die, which will allow you to revive with half health. If you've played Borderlands, it's pretty much the exact same mechanic, but you're limited to what you can do once you're down. Others on the field can choose to help you up and revive you upon death simply by clicking on you, no special skill or class required, and they gain experience by doing so. Otherwise, you'll have to wait around for someone to revive you or choose a teleport to a waypoint for a fee. If anything about this game seriously worries me, it's the community. While the gameplay, as previously stated, isn't hampered by the community in the slightest, it's the fervent devotion both in-game and out that has me worried. This fanbase has shown itself to be beyond fanatic, bordering at times on literal zealotry, going as far as taking iconic religious imagery and replacing the subject deity with this game's box art. Make no mistake, this game does a lot of things differently, and it brings a lot of fantastic ideas to the table, but to try to convince yourself and others that the Renown Hearts aren't quests because you fill up a progress bar instead of a number counter, that's just plain ignorance. Hype is dangerous, and more often than not detrimental to the cause. I was outright annoyed by the amount of psychotic fervor for this game, and while it didn't hamper my enjoyment of this game when I played it, it didn't really lend itself to me wanting to pay for it just to check it out, as all I'd heard beforehand was poorly explained mechanics touted as revolutionary by a bunch of people who never actually played the game for themselves and just wanted to parrot back press releases. Will Guild Wars 2 be the next go-to MMO? I'm not willing to make that call, but I'd say it has a pretty good shot. With nothing more than a starter purchase of $60 and no subscription fees, Guild Wars 2 fixes all the problems I had with the original Guild Wars, and goes far beyond what's expected of a lot of MMOs these days. I'm unquestionably sold on the title, and I greatly look forward to its release. Still, without a doubt, the game's fanatical fanbase wants this game to be the MMO top dog. Just remember that the more popular a game is, the more insufferable its community becomes. Be careful what you wish for. This has been an MMO Grinder Sidequest, and it's time I logged out.